Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Batman Arkham Asylum. So, we are now in kind of a completely different area. So, here's some story with this character and Project Titan. So, you basically have a doctor in Arkham that is using some kind of medical, unethical experimentation on the supervillains. And the director Sharp of the guy in charge of Arkham being probably a little shady too in how he runs things. We're getting you can see this is the first time we've kind of entered an area where it really does feel like a medical facility. You've got tiles, you've got these different colored lines that let's just take a moment here. The lines don't go any further this direction. This wall, this section, is clearly just cut and paste and added to this part.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help.
Sounds like the video loads whenever you load into the area. That would make sense. There is definitely something to be said about the way this all goes, because there totally is this feeling of this game that implies it could have easily been not a Batman game in the first place. This could have just been a horror game. Some of these elements, in fact, look a lot like they could have been from one of the Saw video games based on the Saw movies. Let's see. We'll go ahead and climb up here and go ahead and collect as many of these as we can find. Yep.
Times have changed at this establishment, and through our pioneering techniques, we believe that anyone can be cured.
So it's pretty crazy that Arkham Asylum would have a children's wing. I guess that Batman Beyond idea would have to have some kind of grounding in it, where the children of supervillains and heroes would end up being supervillains and heroes in the future. But it's not like the Batman Beyond cartoon really is too important to the canon, or I don't even know if it is considered canon. But realistically speaking, you're not going to have the Joker anywhere close to a facility for kids. I feel like we're gonna run into spoiler alert, so the Scarecrow. So rumors persist that Tommy Elliott operates in Arkham. So we've got a doctor here that's tied to these chairs, all kinds of blood. Are we gonna do a fight, or is this just going to be a well, there's a whole bunch of people up there. Is this going to be a fight, or is this going to be a puzzle? Looks to me like it's going to be a fight. There's nothing here to scan. Otherwise, and then it took control away.
Speak. You're safe now.
But it's a trap.
I know, just not for me.
It's true. You really are the world's greatest detective. How did you do that, Bats? Oh, what the hell?
this
Get down there,
animation
boys. See if he can detect
of him
big
talking from his chair is probably the same animation over and over again. So I'm mostly mashing buttons here, and I guess I needed to throw a batarang. This guy is dragging things off the wall, which is taking him an incredibly slow amount of time. So here's the problem. If you just hit X, you will never take these guys out. You have to counter, and you have to pound their faces into the head. It takes way too long otherwise. It will be thumb blistering.
Don't get too full of yourself, Bats. I'm just softening you up. Think of this as a preview to the main event.
What would be funny is if this killed him somehow.
Get me out of this thing.
So this is like the first male
I tried to tell you.
character,
Couldn't speak.
Relax, you're safe now.
male
I can handle these
doctor
low-life
character
thugs.
in the game. See, it seems like little sections of blood with air bubbles are being pumped. Really wouldn't want that kind of air bubbles in your blood. That's why they hang upside down like that in the first place. Or any kind of chemical, you don't generally want air bubbles in it. So we're looking for a nameplate for the other doctor. Or something along that way. But yeah, there's definitely a bunch of weirdness here. The batarang is totally like, no, the batarang is something Batman does. Punching and hanging on ledges and grappling. Things Batman do, certainly. But explosive gel, totally made up concept. I've never seen Batman use that. And even if he did use it in one of the thousands of comics he's been in, it certainly isn't standard fare. And a lot of these other things would certainly have been cases where if it was any other kind of character, explosive gel and a batarang type ability and a grapple thing, he could easily have basically any ninja like character. So there's something on this board that's a name of somebody. Like, riddle solved. Tommy Elliott was right there. And Tommy Elliott is a character named Hush, who was a big deal character for the Hush run, which I don't think matters one bit in the long run. I guess he's still canonical for the Batman universe, but yeah, he definitely is not anywhere important as they made him out to be, or as he was originally when this game came out. And kind of that's the consistent problem you're gonna have here, is even the suit of this Batman really was not in connection with the suit of the other Batman. Alright, so over here we have a treasure.
Our findings have led to debates about whether psychosis is in itself neurotoxic.
If we
and whether potentially damaging changes
look
to the brain
here,
are linked to the length of psychotic
you can't
episodes.
see inside this
Project Titan allows us to strengthen
other than the
individual's ability
shattering
to cope
teeth
with
that are in
such
it.
changes. Early results were promising,
So
but it was only after the arrival of Patient X that our expectations were raised. Patient X was the catalyst that led to a full-scale adoption of the
Yeah.
Titan process.
This is
We must all
really
thank
bad
the benefactors
graphics.
for this opportunity.
Like,
We represent all medical
and a lot of
specialties and offer a
backstory.
wide range of medical, surgical, diagnostic, and wellness programs. High quality of care coupled with Arkham Asylum's convenient location.
There is also
ensured
a
we are
thought that
voted
occurred
the
to me.
number
It
one
may not,
facility in the entire state.
that body
Times
there
have
is
changed at this establishment,
disappearing
and through our
from
pioneering
the
techniques,
visuals
we believe
when
that
I
anyone
curve here,
Welcome
which
to
is to say
Arkham
that the
Asylum.
camera
Our staff are
is
here
not
to help
programmed
you.
right in
With
this
holidays
third-person
marking
perspective.
Belton's
I wouldn't be
finest
surprised if the camera was originally a first-person perspective, and at the last second they turned it into a third-person perspective,
Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called
or
supervillains
an over-the-shoulder, much more
But that is
zoomed-in
only half the
perspective.
story. Our low security wings offer normal but troubled individuals
Because we got the
safety,
explosive gel as part of the story, though,
costs, and healthcare
there is a decent chance that
www.arkhamcare.com.
the
We accept most major HMOs.
things that would be needed.
Everything you need
This looks like the Children's Award we're going to.
how we can help you.
The things that would be needed to unlock the security doors and get more collectibles might very well be story based also, and so even if we get all the upgrades, they may not help as I'm hoping they would.
Medical specialties and offer a wide range of medical, surgical, diagnostic, and wellness programs. High quality of care coupled with Arkham Asylum's convenient location.
Here we have
ensured we are voted the number one
TOY
entire state.
and
Hospital serving the entire
some stretch marks.
Giant monster running at you. Just shoot it, or you'll be next on the menu.
our city's finest universities. Our intern package ensures you get the best start in your new career.
So here's the weird,
Today, remember, a happy patient
here's
is
the
a
weird
quiet
thing.
patient.
Our findings point to defense. About electrified coaches is in itself
Yeah, the worst part about this whole system is that you get hit and it really doesn't even do a lot of damage to you. It just makes the video really foggy.
Early results were promising, but it was only after the arrival of patient X that our expectations were
There's
raised.
still no way to really blow
Patient
that up.
X was
Let's,
the catalyst that led to a
let's try this.
full-scale adoption of the Titan process.
If anything was gonna happen, that would blow it up. Nope.
We represent all
So that
medical specialties
totally
and
feels
offer a
like
wide range
something
of
that
medical,
would have
surgical,
been
diagnostic, and
programmed
wellness
had they had more
High
time.
quality of care coupled with Arkham Asylum's convenient location have ensured we are voted the number one facility in
And
the
we can't
entire
see
state.
anything past the store.
Changed at this establishment.
Boss, it's done.
Was the Firefly too hot off the press?
Thing is, Lazy didn't get out alive. He's stuck in here too.
Oh, that'll teach him to dilly-dally. Don't let anyone out of there, even Razor. He's failed me, and I don't like failure.
Have to stop all of Joker's goons.
He was slowing us down anyway. Don't cry, Ash.
Okay, so they won't even let me
I'm gonna get out of here. and
down
you're gonna
there.
wish you were back in your cell.
Whatever. Jump. Yeah, you're not getting out of there, Hookman.
So corner cover is totally useless.
Why don't you come out and fight us? He's here!
No silent takedown per se, but a very easy double takedown.
Alarm in medical. I heard someone shouting and found the doc lying on the floor. When I went to help him, the room was flooded with gas. These doors locked down. We can't get out. Don't know how long we can last.
How brave. Let's give Mr. Cash a great big hand. He could use one.
So we can't go through that door.
When I get out of here.
Lighten up, Holmes. I'm just messing with you.
Can't wait to return the favor.
Lighten up, Holmes.
Can you control the ventilation system in there?
Try it. No go. Disable. Joker's filled the room with gas and we're trapped in here. I can sit in here all night, but the doc over there ain't looking too good.
See, that is another interesting point. I don't think Marvel or DC would have even a bad guy say something like so slyly racist, like talking differently to a black character than a white character. On the other hand, there was a lot of that happening, certainly in the old comic books, but now it's going to be one of two things. Either they are going to do it extremely blatantly and probably with kids gloves, or they're going to give up completely. Okay, so these panels are different than the other panels. So you are supposed to hit these.
I don't know if you can hear this. Board's showing power to fan 1.
I could also hit this guy if we want to murder him, but that's not the way of the bat, I suppose. This feels a lot like the other areas. Or the previous area that had a similar thing.
Power to fan 2. He's doing it, Doc. We'll be out of here soon. Stay cool.
Joker hasn't done anything about this part of the plan.
So now we're looking for fan 3. And we kind of need to be careful about how we activate fan 3. Let's see. This weakened structure. This weakened structure looks like it will blow up if I use this. I seriously doubt, though, that that's going to be close enough to blow it up. You're going to have to spray it on the actual stuff. And then it quickly says hit right bump to escape that. So am I seriously supposed to kill this guy? This is a problem. Definitely a problem that the game would all of a sudden decide that Batman kills people, violating a core tenet of the gameplay. I mean, there's no other wires. So.
All 3 fans agree. We got full power. Room should be empty anytime now.
I'm surprised. Batman arrived just in the nick of time. Next time, Cash, I'll just shoot you and be done with it.
Yeah. Like, what are they doing with the story here? You're really gonna have a guy labeled as unconscious. You just murdered him. The game just told you to murder him. The video game conceit here violated a core mechanic. It is a stupid core mechanic, certainly. in the Batman universe, and it does certainly limit the ability of Batman as a character to grow or develop, but you really can only go a few ways that way, and we've seen it all before. We've seen Batman in some instances turn into a murdering psychopath, and in some instances we've seen him try to take a almost pacifist approach more than he already does. These are unconscious people too. Let's go ahead and pick up at this tape.
Interview 39. Patient's name is Edward Nigma. At this point in time, I've yet to decide if Mr. Nigma is a suitable candidate for the Titan process. I'd like to talk about your childhood.
Miserable.
Yep.
Next.
By all accounts, that is where your fascination with riddles began.
It's so weird how much of the main story here cycles around this story that
My father hated me.
doesn't
Always called me a moron.
really tie into
I was determined to prove him wrong.
the DC universe in any way, when they could have just told the story of Hush, or Batman's origin again would be stupid, but it would have been fine.
He was convinced I had cheated. He kept yelling, "You must have cheated! Admit it, you moron! You cheated!" I swore I didn't, and he hit me for lying.
I'm sorry to hear that, Edward.
Don't be. He was right.
Yeah. It would be kind of dumb to do Batman's origin, but there should probably be some kind of flashback element that plays a role. But there's plenty of Detective Comics runs and Batman's runs that would have been better than the level of video game writing you would have been able to have in general, just creating out of nowhere. Of course, then that stops a video game writer from taking control of the story, so they have to make this Titan Project story that kind of doesn't make sense. I don't think I have an upgrade anyways. But it does have this weird disconnection here. So this guy has a hook for his hand, which that's not animated very well. I guess we're supposed to talk to him and not rescue the doctor.
So what's going on? My radio went dead soon after you brought Joker in.
So he doesn't know anything. Let's go over to the Riddler Clues. In this room was a firefly too hot off the press. So we're looking for a newspaper talking about another obscure Batman villain, Firefly. The Telltale Batman story does have that interesting element of the potential of it being episodic, so that you could have a story and told for a game series that is much closer to what Batman comics are, although not exactly the same. Is this locked or like, nope, it's totally opened, and I guess I was supposed to just walk through there. So we're looking around for, there you go, Firefly escapes Gotham on high alert. So we can kind of tell a lot of these characters probably aren't going to play a role, and they should have shown up more in the game. So medical facility, we're looking to destroy 20th teeth and find a lot more collectibles. I guess we should kind of go into detective mode, see if we can crawl around and see what we can see. See if there's something worth collecting or that we missed in general. I think the answer is probably no. We probably did get everything there is to get. And there's just this vent cover which still doesn't really, we don't have a way to transition from any of that. And I can get up here if I want to. That's where we started. But the odds are kind of low that going back in one direction, I'm gonna realize I missed something.
There is still medical staff needing my help.
Like, where are we on the quest? Dr. Young. So. Yep.
Will all patients please remain calm and move slowly to their accommodation?
These characters
Keep it a secret any longer. I've got 2 old friends coming
do
to the
have
party.
kind of a nice rigidity to their bodies.
You leave without saying hello. The other, well, let's just say he's going to be as surprised to see you as you will be to see him.
So, a surprise character and Scarecrow. So I kind of like this rigidity, but it's better than the default ragdoll that we still see even today. But it is also kind of ridiculous. The way he's lying on his side unconscious. A modern game, you would kind of hope for some kind of animation, maybe a decent algorithm where they writhed in pain on the ground until they came to rest lying on their backs or something like that. Like, to be unconscious and have your arm still bent is kind of ridiculous.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this
I believe you do
you would have believed it could be the
take damage if you were to not
evaluation and
hit these.
rehabilitation center it has become. Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called super criminals.
Now the weird thing here is
but that is only
that
half the
felt
story.
like that area that we just came in was supposed to be the kids section.
Low security wings
There really wasn't a kids section there. It was the same gurneys strapping people to tables. So I guess maybe the kids section for Arkham is either just this hallway and that's all they actually created, or Arkham's kids section is for really violent, criminal, insane kids too, because yeah, it doesn't make any sense otherwise. I'm fairly certain we went in here and then went this way.
We represent all medical specialties and offer a wide range of medical, surgical,
Yep. So we
diagnostic,
started
and wellness programs.
over
High
here.
quality of care, coupled with Arkham Asylum's convenient location, have ensured we are voted the #1 facility in the entire state. Arkham Asylum is a 500-bed psychiatric hospital.
Batman as a character would
We offer internships
be
and
rather
last
freaked
2
out
years
by a
continuously
young,
hired from our
childish
city's finest universities. Our
supervillain,
intern package ensures you
because
get the best start in your
his
new
whole
career. Pick up a leaflet
character
today. When
as a
Amadeus Arkham
design,
built this fine
look how
institution,
jaggedy
few would
and
have believed it could
the
be
shadow
the
is there.
premier psychiatric
Like
evaluation
his
and rehabilitation
personality
center it has
is
become.
his innocence
Everyone
was
knows the
stolen
stories
from
of the
him.
various so-called
It would
supercriminals
be
who've been
a
treated
pretty
here,
big
but that
smack
is
in the
only
face
half
to
the
his
story.
morals
Our low
to
security
see
wings
somebody
offer
give up their
normal,
innocence
individuals a
as a
safe
child
haven
and
for recovery.
or
We
lose it
represent all
through
medical
insanity.
specialties
Maybe
and
it'd be
offer a
even a
wide
little
range of medical,
sympathetic from it,
surgical,
because let's face it,
diagnostic, and
Bruce
wellness
Wayne and
programs.
Batman are
High
crazy.
quality of care, coupled with
He's just
Arkham
a special
Asylum's
kind of crazy
convenient
that
location,
takes it out on other supervillains. Which, let's face it, Batman is as qualifiable as a supervillain as he is a superhero. His single moral code of not using guns and not shooting people, which are kind of enforced by the comic code more than anything else, it's really not enough to make him a hero. He is totally an anti-hero at best.
But after what happened that time at the train station, I'm just doing exactly what he says.
Me too. Old Johnny King never saw it coming. Glad I didn't have to clean it up.
Yep. So you can... How do you get out of the corner cover though? You have to hit A again. There's kind of nothing here, so let's just walk up and see if maybe we can stealth takedown. Nope. So you just have to counter, counter, counter. He took that pipe, by the way, and did not use it. Counter. You can't hit just Y, by the way. You also need to hit X. And then there's an AX throw. Once I got that combo up, but I wasn't close enough to anything to actually do that. And getting a 9 combo just got me a couple extra XP. It's an insignificant amount of XP, frankly. So if we fought somebody on this side of the door, is it some puzzle on this side of the door for the X-ray room? It also is questionable, I guess. Some of these riddles probably are, well, I guess they're just in sections I haven't been in yet. We definitely are not yeah, you can see she's like being securely guarded, so you're gonna try and blow the wall behind them.
This job, as you call it, requires friends. What I want to know is why you chose me. Did Joker specify me? Why don't you let me talk to him? I'm sure we can settle this.
So Dr. Young, I believe, is the one in charge of the Titan Project. And you're getting a lot more story than you normally would. So we can see all 3 of them are there. So if I was to just do this, that's not enough. So what we need to do is we're in this room, which makes no sense. So this is the X-ray room where it wants me to blow up both of this like this. Why would there be a building inside of a building? Why do so many of the buildings inside of Arkham Asylum feel like they are...
Why are you doing this? Let me speak to Joker.
See. Can I just open the door? Nope. Could we get a good vantage point for any of this?
What the hell?
Oops.
Someone tell Joker.
So at least...
Easy. Played you like a violin and cut your strings. Nighty-night, bats.
So we got an actual game over. Mission failed. Just because I got spotted. But in a funny way, that probably is going to solve the longer story if the game let me actually do that. Clearly, it's important that Dr. Young stay alive.
Military operation. Friends on the inside and out.
I am quite aware that this job, as you call it, requires friends. What I want to know is why
Okay.
you chose me. Did Joker specify? No, please, no! No!
So we save her, and she's not even just a hand on the hip, not even fazed by it.
What's going on? They were talking like they were in control. Is it true that Joker escaped?
Unfortunately, yes. But not for long.
I'd been studying Joker's case for months when he broke out.
What's funny here
Very
is
specific he wanted Joker cured.
That
Batman.
publicity will affect his campaign for mayor.
Batman would be probably paranoid enough to
They said they were moving through the facility.
zip tie and arrest like all the doctors and all the police
You'll be safer
also.
if you remain here.
Yeah, instead of just saying you'll be safer if you
All the
remain
medical
here.
Staff are safe. Time to continue following Harley Quinn and Gordon's trail.
So now we need to return to the doctor's sanatorium. Is there anything in the x-ray room? No. Not really. I don't think there's a Riddler's challenge in this area. I could have, it seems, at some point gotten up this direction. And there is a trophy up here that, had I tried to get earlier, probably would have gotten me spotted. But otherwise, it seems like there's nothing that can be done. At least not until we can figure out some kind of way to do controlled explosions, to get that Arkham stone thing.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you.
No real boss fights in very short sections, by the way. Do we just hear a radio or audio?
Happy patient is a quiet patient. Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you.
So we can see there's a person in there
This fine institution.
this time.
You would have believed it could be the premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center it has become. Everyone knows the stories of the
But we don't know
various
who.
so-called super criminals who've been treated here. But that is only half the story.
It's
Our low security
a guy.
normal but troubled individuals a safe haven for recovery.
High security henchmen carry knives and must be stunned before they can be attacked. So
Or at www.
you stun them, then you have to hit them quite a bit.
Our website contains everything you need to
So
know
these
about our
guys
facility and how we
are
can help you. Did you know that
the exact same skins,
can provide you
but just in orange jumpsuits and a mask to hide the fact that their face is
times have changed
is the same skins and same people,
techniques?
same 2 or 3 skins of henchmen.
We represent all medical specialties and offer a wide range of medical, surgical, diagnostic,
We're
and
almost to the
wellness
point where
programs.
we've unlocked another upgrade.
With Arkham Asylum's convenient location, have ensured
And
we are voted the #1 facility in
don't
the
think we're
entire
gonna
state. Arkham
really
Asylum
run
is a
into anything
500-bed
else.
psychiatric hospital
Like, it's just a short hallway walk.
serving the entire Gotham area.
For as
We
small
operate
as these
churches,
levels
and in the
are,
last 2 years,
there is this
continuously hired
idea
from our city's finest
that
universities.
they
Our
could be
intern
improved
package
upon to
ensures
make
you
this
get
more
the
of a
best start in
horror
your new career. Pick
style
up a
game
leaflet today.
experience.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum.
I think
Our
we
staff
already
are here
fell
to
out of
help
this
you.
area.
When Amadeus Arkham built this fine
I-
institution, few would have believed it could be the premier psychiatric
Or
evaluation and
you just have more
rehabilitation
people
center it has
randomly
become. Everyone
spawn.
knows the stories of the various
That's
so-called
something
super
else that
criminals
it could do. But yeah, this whole section, really small, and then we're going back to an area we've already been to, so that we can use the elevator to go back to where I've already been to. There is this section over here that we kind of failed to, well, I don't know. Probably should go back and check that. Let's see if we get anything that triggers anything new.
Did you find them? Are they okay?
Yes, they're safe now.
Batman, we've got another problem.
I need to get back to the mansion. All my research notes are there. We can't risk Joker getting his hands on them.
It's not safe,
Random
Doctor.
characters
The
that
island's a war zone.
don't matter.
You won't stand a chance.
It's my life's work. You really don't have the authority to...
I'll get her there, Batman. You
Yep.
ask me. It's about time.
All of these characters probably did show up in a single Batman
Wasn't us. It's coming from the lower floor.
Batman
Take
issue.
Dr. Young. Get her
But-
notes and then find somewhere safe to hold up.
They're also
Everyone else
having
go
to
the
have
observation
this
room.
whole different
Barricade
connection.
yourselves in.
By the way, the red-headed hair person there and the black-haired person, basically the same. Let's see. Same hairstyle. Alright. So, what we want to do, I assume, is see if we can take out any of these with a silent takedown. This is the first instance we've had where a character or an area kind of resets. I don't think they're gonna let me do this though.
Joker wants the bat.
Like, we can see it there, but I can't grab him unless he's right under me, and I'm not sure he's ever gonna come right under me, and I don't think I can just throw a batarang to get him to come right under me. And I'm fairly certain
What kind of psycho built this place?
that the other two people are gonna have to be taken out differently. So unlocking that ability for the inverted takedown is not useful. They're all over on this side. And I don't want to just die and reset this whole thing.
I hate hospitals. Always gives me the creeps.
So let's see if we can just glide kick this guy, and then he'll be far enough away that it won't matter. All the way across the room. Now that they're more nervous, maybe this little guy will walk under this pattern and I can do an inverted takedown. Oops, forgot to show it again. And then just glide kick and get this guy out. Playing on easy, this is probably fewer people than you would fight normally. It's weird that it takes you out of detective mode after the fight, just as almost a reminder that they want you to not be in detective mode the whole time, but then you kind of are always in detective mode and kind of need to be in detective mode the whole time anyways. So the whole concept falls apart. Let's see. I wanted to go this direction, And I wanted to see if the remote control batarang upgrade unlocks things. So now you can select it as a gadget. And it still doesn't seem like there's anything here. A multiple frequency detonator. It's not probably that useful. And these other updates don't seem like they're going to be that useful. So yeah, it does kind of feel like what you need to get to the... I'm going to go through here. What you need to get through these elements are still pretty bad. D-pad down and to the left to use that ability. This is something that I think should be upgraded. Is the D-pad to select weapons is not enough for games. It hasn't been for a long time. So let's see. Right trigger to throw the batarang, and then you have to wait. Yeah, it's not super useful. I almost certainly will never use it. What I'm looking for here is the right direction. I feel like we didn't come this direction, and this is where Harley Quinn was, and Gordon. So we're getting more of these scans that I don't think matter really. So he had all kinds of extra tobacco to leave a trace. And we came out this direction, I believe. Or somewhere around here. And ended up going this direction. I'm not sure if those scans that we just scanned stay scanned. But at the very least we do know there's this door that we need to hack at some point in the future to open this way just as a shortcut. Like one assumes. And then there is another Harley Quinn tape.
Patient interview 44. This is yet another interview with Edward Nigma. I've yet to make up my mind whether he's a genius or just deluded. Whichever one he is, just being in his company is both irritating and exhausting.
Hello, Miss Young. You look tired. Anything you need my help with?
No, thank you, Edward. I am here to help you. We all are.
Forgive my arrogance, Doctor, but if you think I need your help, well, you're in the right place.
Let's look at it a different way. Throughout your career, you have specialized in bizarre traps and convoluted clues that more often than not result in the death of the unfortunate participants.
And if
Yeah,
the citizens of
much
Gotham
like the
smart,
Saw series.
my games would be merely an amusing diversion.
Instead of death traps.
You really should be thanking me. Weeding out the ignorant, the stupid, the useless. But don't worry, I'm sure you would survive. What a lovely photo on your desk, Doctor. Your family? Mother, perhaps.
Put that down. Get out. Guard!
Yeah. It kind of does feel like this could have been a Saw game. Unfortunately, the Saw games, while they do have a slight interesting appeal to them, weren't particularly great. And in a weird way, the Saw games also had more puzzles than this game did. Like, we really haven't gotten your standard video game logic puzzle where you're trying to lockpick why it is Batman.
Generosity of our benefactors on the wane?
So we're looking for this right here. Funded by Bruce Wayne. This unit was funded by Bruce Wayne.
What do you call someone
There we
who
go.
has failed to solve 3/4 of my riddles? A Batman.
So, in that, we now know we've gotten 1/4 of the riddles unlocked. Meanwhile, we have one in the experimentation chamber, one in the morgue, and one in secure access. I don't think that we've been to any of those areas. Let's see, x-ray room, upper corridor, surgery room, patient observatory. So all the other collectibles are in the elevator lower section of this map. And Dr. Young, who is clearly involved, wants us to go to the mansion. So once we're done with this level, we'll almost certainly cross over to this level, and unless we get some new abilities, we probably won't be able to collect too much extra in the open world section again, but we might be able to get a few trophies and then do the mansion. Then maybe we'll cross over again and do the penitentiary, and then maybe we'll cross over back to the botanical gardens. I wouldn't be surprised if we do the botanical gardens, then the penitentiary. At Arkham West there, I misread as Adam West. Like, I don't know how you put the Adam West Batman 66 character in a Batman game, but it would be funny. Certainly if he existed. What you could do, they could do it for the whole Batman universe, is just simply have a fake Batman or somebody who plays him on TV, an actor effectively, and have that be Adam West canonically in the story. That'd be kind of funny. Alright, well, there's nothing more to do for this recording. Just get some more of these chattering teeth killed and move forward. Yeah, it is rather crazy, isn't it, that there isn't a lockpicking minigame. That's just such a basic video game stuff, and it works perfectly fine in the Batman universe. Of course, some people would probably argue Batman would just kick down the doors all the time, but if he's trying to stealth it, there should be an option to stealthily lockpick doors and get into rooms. It's crazy that we haven't seen any real puzzles. I can tell you it's not a huge spoiler to say that once we start disabling the electrified security fences, which, I mean, they didn't really need to be electrified. They could have just been securely locked doors. When we get the ability to do that, I don't think there's a mini game around that. A lot of elements that any other Unreal game had anybody the ability to copy some code from previous WB games. Even taking some of the stuff from Lego Batman 1 probably would have been useful. So this time we have Alfred, and this Alfred looks nothing like most of the Alfreds I've seen. Like as the substitute father and butler of Batman. We really don't have a lot more of these characters. Are we a quarter of the way done with the entire game? I would say no, probably not. And that's kind of a problem, certainly. It is taking a really long time because we're being OCD about the collectibles, but you kind of have to be OCD with the collectibles. I've said this before 2 or 3 times now, but it is the overwhelming thing I take away from every time I make an episode of this game, it's you just have to get all the collectibles, because that's really the only way you get any experience, and you kind of need to get all the experience, otherwise you're not going to get all the upgrades, and thus you're not going to be able to play the game as easily or as nicely as you'd want to play it. I don't believe there's a new game plus here, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the menu challenges actually do give you some kind of experience to your character. So if I were to just quit out to the menu and do some of the challenges, I probably would get a little bit of an experience that would unlock something in the main story game. But the fact that the challenges exist and that there's so much DLC and so much stuff that was cut out of the main game, and then you're left with a really, really small main game, is a huge, huge problem. This is not something that is an age issue either. This is a 2009 game. I'm fairly certain if you compared it to Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you'd find that game is way bigger in the number of levels, in the number of dungeons, in the number of collectibles, abilities, just everything. Probably 10 times bigger, Ocarina of Time. And I'm fairly certain Ocarina of Time came out early 90s, decades before, maybe mid 90s. Even the Game Boy Zelda game, in comparison to Link to the Past, very old game, probably has more rooms and more levels as a top-down 2D game than what this has. Is there a better comparison that's not a Zelda game? Well, no, the Metroid Prime series. Metroid Prime 1, even, compared to this. Nowhere is small. So, yeah, you really get shortchanged. But then, I think when we get to the sequel game, you'll probably be fine. And you do get into this weird position as you try to play older games that you kind of wanted to just rush through old games. You kind of don't want to play them like you would if you paid $60 for them and you couldn't afford to own any other games. When you get a game like this on Steam, particularly for me, I have hundreds of other games to play on Steam. I have way too much choice and never enough time. So running through a series like this and then playing Arkham City 2 or Batman Arkham Asylum 2, which is Arkham City, and then rushing somewhat through that to play the third game, and then rushing somewhat through that to play the fourth game and be disappointed almost certainly by the fourth game. That's kind of how you have to play old games. And this doesn't play well in that style, because when you're sort of under the wire and rushing to begin with, that just doubles the obvious flaws of a game when it is small and short. And that is certainly not something that is usually a flaw with games. Usually games are way too long. And the collectibles in this game are too long. But if I was just capable of doing the story, I'd probably beat this game in 4 or 5 hours, and it would be rather dull. Anyways, we're going late. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.